reincarnation of Adolf Hitler and
Donald Trump.
yeah.
Donald Trump.
I'm not here for like hate. I'm here for compassion, understanding.
Is FTP?
Is that hateful, though? People have signs that say no hate. No, we don't hate.
All right, a lot of left-wing disruptors caused all kinds of chaos last week in Chicago outside a venue where Donald Trump was supposed to hold a rally. Now, two filmmakers who shot that video are going to help expose who these people really are. That's later tonight, including, by the way, an interview they had with Bill Ayers. But according to Politico, bigwig liberals and left-wing politicians and political groups are coming together to plan an all-out assault against Donald Trump. We continue with former Speaker of the House, Fox News contributor Newt Gingrich. All right, this is now well-funded. It's MoveOn.org. It's Black Lives Matter. It's going to be, according to protesters, in their own words, it's going to be a very ugly spring and summer. How should Republicans handle that?
Well, first of all, they should talk with Governor Scott Walker, who lived through this in Madison. Remember, if you're on the hard left and you lose an election, you assume the election is illegitimate. If the American people don't understand you, you assume it's the American people's fault. You reserve the right to drive conservatives off of college campuses, which is why even somebody like Condi Rice, for example, was driven off of a college campus, why Dr. Ben Carson was blocked from speaking in a way that's just inconceivable, and yet the media ignores the fact that you have a fascist liberalism which is prepared to go totally outside the law, to impose its values, to block any kind of debate. If Donald Trump is serious, or if Ted Cruz is serious, and I think they both are, they're going to represent the kind of changes which are going to drive the left crazy. And the left will express its craziness by breaking the law. All we have to do is say again and again, we want the law enforced. We are very much for the right of people to dissent. We're very much for the right of people to demonstrate. We are opposed to their disruption, and we are opposed to their imposing their will on their fellow citizens. And we have to say, maybe a lot of these people ought to spend the entire summer in jail, and then they won't bother anybody. And I think that when people start being disruptive, they need to be arrested, they need to be prosecuted, and they need to serve some time.
Well, it doesn't help when somebody charges at a presidential candidate and is only charged with a misdemeanor and released 2 hours after they literally were racing to attack a candidate. Let me ask, I think this is an important question. All right, so we're down to two candidates on the Republican side. If you look at those two, is it better that they join forces? Is it better that they pick somebody like John Kasich? Would it be better to lay out an agenda, a positive, forward-looking agenda? You laid out the contract with America. I've always liked the idea of duplicating it. Nobody in Washington ever listens to little old me. But would that be a wise thing to do? Why the laughter?
A lot of people, because a lot of people in Washington listen to you.
No, but they don't like, the establishment doesn't like me in Washington. John Boehner didn't like me when he left.
Well, not going to like my answer.
Go ahead.
Look, first of all, I think it's very appropriate for Ted Cruz to keep campaigning. I think it's actually good for Trump to have to deal with Cruz and have to keep learning. Remember, he's only been a candidate since June 16th. So this is all new, and the more practice Trump can have, the better off he's going to be against Hillary this fall, assuming Hillary isn't indicted and they don't have to recruit.
It's a big assumption.
If Hillary gets indicted, if Hillary gets indicted, I think they'll draft Elizabeth Warren. That's my prediction.
I agree.
So I think that in that setting, this is a totally legitimate campaign fight. Cruz still has an opportunity to win. They ought to go out and try to win. I do think it's helpful to the country for both of them to lay out more of a positive program. And candidly, Cruz has done more of that than Trump has. I think it'd be good for both of them to indicate their positive program for America and focus on the positive. At the same time, I think when we get to a point where it's obvious who the nominee is going to be, that nominee does need a bold agenda. And there, Speaker Paul Ryan is doing yeoman's work because he has entire teams of Republicans in the key committees, all of them working on a bold agenda for America's future. But he told me this back in January,
and I've seen nothing yet.
No, there's a lot going on. I've been in the House talking to folks, and there's a lot going on. And by May, you're going to see a lot. So we're going to have a lot of good stuff coming before we get to Cleveland and the convention. And I think once we get through this nominating process, we need to turn to the general election. And we need to turn, frankly, to shock everybody by including all Americans. I believe that the Republican nominee this year can offer a better future for all Americans in every neighborhood of every ethnic background by offering them the products of science and technology and entrepreneurship to replace the unionized bureaucratic disasters that Hillary Clinton is owned by.
All right, you are on top of your game as usual. Mr. Speaker, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good to be with you.